Trudeau provokes India again. Canada's free speech hypocrisy exposed. Trudeau censors Jaishankar's remarks. India hits back at Canada, condemns ban. Trump wins, tremors in Canada. Trudeau about to get trumped.
There is panic in Canada and it's visible on the faces of their leaders. After Donald Trump won elections in the United States of America, Canada knows its doublespeak will get exposed and Trump will be very unsparing. India has been very, very polite so far. But just imagine, Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, look at his hypocrisy, his virtue signaling. When Khalistanis in Canada talk about targeting Air India or attacking India's Prime Minister, or they actually attack India's Indian people, what does Canada say? That's freedom of expression. FOE? What happens to that freedom of expression when India's External Affairs Minister gives an interview to an Australian channel, Australia Today? In panic, Canada bans that channel. So no freedom of expression when Canada is being criticized by an Australian channel, but freedom of expression when Khalistanis target India. That's the truth about the hypocrisy of these self-styled liberals like Justin Trudeau. The Ministry of External Affairs actually exposed and hit out at Canada's hypocrisy towards freedom of expression. So Dr. S. Jaishankar, he's down under, he's in Australia. He had a meeting with Penny Wong, Australia's foreign minister. They had a great meeting. Everything's working out well between India and Australia. And Dr. Jaishankar hit out at Canada's hypocrisy while he was in Australia. He talked of Canada making allegations and a pattern to these allegations where there is no evidence, absolutely no evidence that Canada has offered. He gave an interview to Australia Today, issued a statement thanking Indian diaspora for their unwavering support in the face of a ban by the Justin Trudeau-led Canadian government, all of that. And Canada panicked. Look at how thin-skinned Canada is.
India-Canada ties plunge to a new low. The latest flashpoint, a Canadian ban on the coverage of a joint press meet by External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and Australian Foreign Minister Penny Wong by an Australian media outlet. At the press meet held in Canberra this week, Jaishankar hit out at Ottawa over the attacks on Hindu temples by Khalistan extremists. He also called out Canada for placing Indian diplomats under surveillance.
The incidents which the gentleman there spoke about, and do look at the video. I think they would tell you, in a way, the political space today, which is being given to extremist forces there. So we believe in freedoms. We also believe freedom should not be misused. And have we had a talk about it? Exactly on the lines which are.
Later, in an interview to Australia Today, the media website blocked by the Canadian government, Jaishankar slammed Canada for the free run given to Khalistan supporters.
I mean, no country has a stronger commitment to freedom than India. But we always tell people, freedoms are meant to be utilized. Freedom should not be misused. Freedom does not mean that you have also the right to misuse the freedom. So freedom comes with responsibility.
The MEA reacted strongly to Canadian blackout of Jaishankar press meet, describing the move as surprising and strange. The MEA said that the action yet again highlights the hypocrisy of Canada towards freedom of speech. The Modi government also revealed that New Delhi had requested security for Indian diplomats for consular camps in Canada, which the Trudeau administration did not provide.
Canada making allegations and a pattern has developed without any specific evidence. Second thing he highlighted was that surveillance of Indian diplomats have been happening in Canada, which he termed as unacceptable. And then third thing which he highlighted was the political space which is being given in Canada to anti-India elements.
Reacting to the Canada ban, Australia today said that it remains steadfast, undeterred and committed to transparency and a free press.
That now we can't watch you on, your content has been banned, restricted or stopped to be watched in Canada. That's what happened, and we couldn't understand the reason. The only reason was 2 stories which we did that day, and it probably provoked, it probably didn't go well with the Canadian authorities. I don't know what it was.
Relations between India and Canada have been strained since last year, when Prime Minister Trudeau accused India of involvement in the assassination of Khalistan separatist leader Hardeep Singh Nijjar. The Trudeau government is under fire in Canada after Khalistan extremists attacked Hindu temples in the country recently. Bureau Report, India Today.
And the Canadian hypocrisy is there for the world to see. I want to bring Sushant Sareen, Senior Fellow at the Observer Research Foundation, into this conversation. Sushant, does Canada have a leg to stand on, this Justin Trudeau government, on its so-called freedom of expression and free speech, when they claim Khalistanis abusing India or targeting India as freedom of expression? And Justin Trudeau has said so. He's done that virtue signaling, and then he goes on and bans this Australia Today because of the Dr. Jaishankar interview.
So, Gaurav, very clearly, the Canadians have gone beyond hypocrisy. And I think what can be said about them is that it's become an unhinged country. There is nothing sober and sensible about this country anymore. There's nothing even serious about this regime anymore, which is ruling over Canada. And I think it's tragic because Canada wasn't always a country like this, but under this government, which is essentially, if you look at the track record of Trudeau and his bunch, including that terrorist Jagmeet Singh, these are people who wear this very liberal kind of a facade, but you scratch them a bit and they turn out to be fascists. So whether it is any demonstration inside Canada, which they ban, the way they crack down on dissenters, the way they have crushed opinions which are contrary to theirs. And we've seen that over the last so many years. But increasingly, in the context of India and the Indian diaspora, we see this every day. It's a one-sided kind of a justice system. It's a 2-tier policing system. So what do you call this country? And every time it's a regime which is constantly supporting terrorists and thugs. It has very deep linkages with these transnational criminal syndicates, which are also big financiers of many of these leaders. So what do you expect from these guys coming out?
How timid is Justin Trudeau? How compromised is Justin Trudeau? It just brings to fore how horribly compromised he is. I mean, he's almost playing second fiddle to someone like Jagmeet Singh, so dependent on him. But I want our viewers to look at that list of hypocrisy of Canada. It's not just one instance, it's multiple instances, and you must take a look at it. Canada has given no evidence to India because India puts information out in public domain for the world to see. So what does Canada do? Plant stories in the Washington Post and then is caught out doing so. It names India's Home Minister without an iota of evidence that's available. Not a shred of evidence has been shared with India. No investigation has been carried out, just some intelligence inputs that they may have got. Refuses to act against a terrorist like Pannu. Of course, there the United States is equally guilty, if not more. India has repeatedly asked both the United States of America and Canada. Of course, now it remains to be seen what happens now that Donald Trump is there and he's talking about taking action against that so-called deep state and entrenched interests in Washington, D.C. But Canada has taken no action against Pannu. Refusing security to India's consular camp because it's scared that the 8 lakh Hindus there and the 7.5 lakh Sikhs there, and Justin Trudeau's hypocrisy will just expose that once again. He knows that they're not with the Khalistanis who are funding him. arresting Hindus after the Khalistan attack and not taking any action, that Peel police, that compromised Peel police of Canada, refusing to act against, and this, again, this is evidence, refusing to act against a government, a Canadian government employee who's been designated a terrorist, Sandeep Sidhu. There's evidence against him. Canada refuses to act against him. Removing Goldie Brar from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police wanted list. And that's a federal list. That's not a Peel police or a state list. RCMP is a central list. Blocking foreign media outlets from carrying Dr. Jaishankar's interview. That just shows you the hypocrisy of Canada. Sushant Sareen, not one, but multiple instances. And perhaps I've left out half a dozen, Sushant Sareen.
Yeah, it's not just what he's done with India, it's what he's done to his own people. You remember the truckers' protest, which was a peaceful protest, and look at the way this Canadian government cracked down. But look, Gaurav, let's face it, it's not just about Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh. The rest of the Liberal Party, that woman Anita Anand, have you seen her hypocrisy? She doesn't even have the guts to say that it was the Khalistanis who attacked the Hindu temple. But, you know, then she will do virtue signaling, and there's been no pushback from the Hindu community against these people. Even within the Conservative Party, you have people like Arpit Khanna and others who have taken very, very, dubious positions on these matters.
Yes.
And frankly speaking, I also blame the Hindu and the Sikh community in Canada. Partly, I don't blame them because, they are living under this kind of an oppressive regime. But partly I blame them for not getting organized back.
Yes. Sushant Sareen, stay with me for a moment, because on India Today, we'll expose Justin Trudeau even further. There's a video of Justin Trudeau that India Today has accessed. He's addressing the Indian-Canadian diaspora. This is on Deepavali. Justin Trudeau has been heard saying there are many supporters of Khalistan in Canada, but they do not represent the Sikh community as a whole. There are supporters of the Modi government in Canada, but they do not represent all Hindu Canadians as a whole. Listen in, I'll get you more on that story.
There are many supporters of Khalistan in Canada, but they do not represent the Sikh community as a whole. There are many supporters of the Modi government in Canada, but they do not represent all Hindu Canadians as a whole.
You know, Justin Trudeau's name is synonymous, Milan Sharma, Justin Trudeau's name is synonymous with hypocrisy. Sikhs are not Khalistanis. He knows that. And yet he panders to the Khalistanis for those Sikh votes.
Well, that's right, Gaurav. We've accessed this video from one of the addresses that he's giving to the Indian diaspora over there. And, of course, not all Khalistani supporters are Sikhs, certainly. But what Justin Trudeau is saying, that even not all Modi supporters in Canada are, Hindu Canadians. And that is the kind of audacity and hypocrisy that is being shown by Justin Trudeau at the moment. Of course, he's pandering for votes of not just the Khalistan supporters, the Sikh community, as well as the Hindu Canadian community, which is a huge diaspora in Canada. So certainly these kind of statements that are coming forward from Justin Trudeau clearly show the kind of narrative that they are trying to play on in Canada. They're not supporting the Hindu Canadians when it comes to the temple attacks. They are arresting only Hindu Canadians and other people who were part of the retaliation that happened after violence broke up, due to the Khalistan provocation. But they're not arresting anyone from the K groups and talking about, bringing the Hindu diaspora together. So his statements are on both sides. And of course, all this is being done for pandering, for the vote bank of, Canada at the moment.
Milan, keep tracking that story. I will come back to you for more. But Justin Trudeau and his entire the lobby of those hypocrites who back him, including Jagmeet Singh, they are now shivering. They're shivering because their achhe din are over. Donald Trump has come to the United States of America, and Donald Trump, the president-elect, has referred to Justin Trudeau as that far-left lunatic. Much more on the story in the days and weeks ahead. Sushant Sareen, many thanks for joining me. We'll track the story closely.